So we announced Mussolina 2 weeks ago, but because I was pretty stressed, I announced it for the wrong year, and then I just went on vacation. Taking a step back is super important for me and is especially necessary because I've been having problems with the larger structure of Mussolina for a long time now. The moment-to-moment gameplay has been working for months. You just get random items and you use them to solve a problem. But how do you make people want to do that again and again? Because when you solve the same level 3 times in completely different ways, that's where the beauty of the game is. That's where you understand just how diverse and free you really are. The solution, of course, is very basic. You just play a run of the game, and at the end of the run, you unlock new items and new levels. You just widen the pool of randomness slowly. Every time you play through it, the game becomes more and more chaotic. And that's kind of a basic concept. It's like Mario Kart. You just unlock a new kart and you can use that to make a level feel different. How to make that the most extreme version of itself was then another few days of thinking, and then I realized you just randomize what you unlock. You get a tool, but which tool you get, who knows? It might be straightforward to use, or it might be super arcane and strange. The levels you unlock, they might be super hard or super easy. You don't know, so you probably want to check it out, and then you start a new run. And in this new run, you're going to see old content in new configurations. Like the stuff you unlock only makes up a tiny percentage of the stuff that you see, and then we get to the moment where you get the same level multiple times. What that also leads to is that it creates a randomized difficulty curve. The first time you play the game, it's going to be the same for everyone. You know, everyone starts with the same items and the same levels, but then after you unlock the first stuff, it's just going to be completely different. Who knows? You know, you might get an item that someone else only gets at the end. You might get levels that other people will only see after 2 hours of playing. You know, it's just random. And that's in tune with the radical approach I wanted to take for Mussolina. So after vacation was over, I started to work on it. And I work on it with my block-based, self-made coding language thing that makes programmers want to kill me. It uses game objects, actual, just like a block inside of the game, to store a variable. Because I don't know how lists or arrays work. And then I just access these blocks using parameters, and then I use that like a list, I guess, essentially. Who knows? So I rewrote my selection code again, and I made these game object containers globally accessible so I could like manipulate them from different game modes. And during all of that, I was thinking, okay, so we have the runs and you get new stuff, and then you want to do a new run, but the run itself is kind of, you know, how do you make the ending of the run really pop? How do you end on a high note? And I already had these boss levels at the end, and they were just like larger, like you would scroll through them and they would contain more items than a usual level. But they were like pulled from a random pool. And what if, in order to give them the highest amount of contrast possible, what if they were picked in a linear fashion? So everything is pure chaos. You know, your unlocks are randomized, the levels you get are randomized, the tools you get are randomized. But what if the boss levels are linear? So first you have to beat the boss level 1. And then you do a new run and you get the boss level 2, and then boss level 3, 4, 5. You know, what if the boss levels were always the same? But because everything else, your tools and your progression is so random, it's still going to be, you know, you're going to arrive at that boss level with a completely different setup than most other people. And then to make it even more radical, what if, like during the normal gameplay, you always have infinite attempts, you know, because it's so random. I don't want to punish you for failing, you know, like you need the freedom to explore. But what if the boss levels had a limit of attempts? What if you have only 3 attempts to beat a boss level? And if you don't do it, you have to start the whole run again. That would it would allow you to practice the items that you drew, like to like get familiar with them. But then it would put a moment of high tension at the end of a like mushy chaos. So this felt right. It just felt right. So I just went with it. And now that's how it's going to have to be, because there's no more time to radically change anything about this setup. We're starting to lock in the levels and items. We're wrapping up the sound design this month, and it's coming to a close. Like the game will release relatively soon. It's going to have to be a compact game. It's not going to have as many levels or as many tools as I wanted to, and it's going to have to really rely on the new structure and the combinatoric of all of that to make it deep enough, to make it really like hook people for a certain amount of time. I'm going to try to make weekly devlogs like this, kind of like freestyled every week. So if you have some questions you want to ask me, please drop them below in the comments. And don't forget to wishlist Mussolina, which is coming out in 2022 for Sega Saturn exclusively. We got a pretty good deal.